Good evening, and welcome back to the Horror and Metal channel. I'm Lord Hellhound, and a while back I did videos for my top 10 favorite metal albums from each year in the 1980s, except for 1980, 1981, and 1982. So I only did 1983 through 1989, top 10 metal albums of, 1983, 1984, 1985, and so on all the way to 1989. And the reason that I didn't do top 10 videos for the years 1980 through 1982 is because I don't think I have 10 favorite metal albums from those years. However, there are at least 5 of my favorite albums with some honorable mentions from those 3 years. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to make top 5 lists for videos for 1980, 1981, 1982. So yeah, top 5 metal albums for each of those 3 years. Since I already did 83 through 89 top 10 lists. And I also thought about doing a top 10 metal albums of 1990 video, but it turns out there's a lot of great metal albums that came out that year. So it had to be like a top 20. Yeah, it'd be really hard to narrow down to 10. But anyway, yeah, I figured I'll do that for, the years, like I said, 1980, 81, and 82, just top 5 lists, sometimes with some honorable mentions. So let's go and get started. My top 5 favorite metal albums of 1980. All right, number 5 is going to be Angel Witch, the debut album by the new wave of British heavy metal band, led by Kevin Hayborn on guitar and vocals. It was a very iconic, very influential album. I think it's definitely their best, though I do like their second and third albums a lot too, with singer Dave Tatum. But this is a really good album too, and I don't think they ever quite achieved the greatness that they captured on this one again after this. But yeah, definitely a great album. I think it's kind of underrated. Great songs like Angel Witch, the title track, Atlantis, which is probably my favorite song on the album, White Witch, Sorcerers, really good stuff. If you're into traditional heavy metal with, clean vocals and really good melodic guitar playing. Kevin Hayborn, I think, is a very underrated guitarist. His riffs and solos are like top notch. Really good stuff. So just definitely check out Angel Witch, the debut album by the band of the same name. Really, really good stuff. All right, number 4 is going to be Blizzard of Oz by Ozzy Osbourne. His first solo album, the debut album by the Ozzy Osbourne band. Still a great album. It's probably my second favorite next to his sophomore album, Diary of a Madman. Of course, this has Crazy Train. It's a really iconic song. Probably his most well-known, most popular. They played it way too much on the radio, so I'm really sick of that song. But it was still a great song. I really love the intro. Of course, Suicide Solution's really good. Mr. Crowley's an awesome song. A really eerie, ominous keyboard intro. No Bone Movies. Really good stuff. I love Randy Rhoads' guitar playing. He's one of my favorite guitarists. It's only based on the first 2 Ozzy Osbourne albums since he was sadly killed in a plane crash right after Diary of a Madman came out. But yeah, he's just amazing. His riffs and solos are phenomenal. And like I said, he's in my top 10 only based on 2 albums, the first 2 Ozzy albums. It's just incredible. His fretwork and his playing is just top notch for sure. Yeah, Randy Rhoads was just awesome. I really wish we could have seen. I really wish he could have lived so we could have seen more from him. Because yeah, he was just amazing, and he's one of the best parts of this album, I think. But yeah, Blizzard of Oz, the debut album by Ozzy's solo band, definitely be my 4th favorite 1980 metal album. All right, number 3 is going to be British Steel by Judas Priest. Yeah, their first 80s album. And this isn't my favorite Judas Priest album. This is kind of when they got a little more mainstream and commercial sounding. A lot of the really radio-friendly hits were on this. I used to love Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight, but I've just heard those way too many times. Like Crazy Train, they've just been played to death. Those songs are way too overplayed. They're good songs, but they just played them way too much. It's a little more poppy, like I said, a little more mainstream sounding than their 70s stuff, but still pretty good. I really like the song Grinder. I think that's an awesome song. Metal Gods is a really good song. Rapid Fire. So yeah, And of course, Living After Midnight and Breaking the Law. Rob Halford's my favorite vocalist of all time. I love when he hits the high notes and does, really powerful stuff with his voice. Sadly, he doesn't do a whole lot of that on this album in comparison to the 70s albums. It's still pretty great. Yeah, Glenn Tipton and KK Downing both have their twin axe attack. They both have the dual leads going on. Their riffs and solos are just immaculate. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Yeah, British Steel by Judas Priest. Yeah, this definitely belongs in every top 1980 metal albums list for sure. Yeah, great stuff. British Steel. Like I said, not my favorite Judas Priest album, but it's still pretty good, despite being a little more commercial sounding, a little more radio hit type music. It's still pretty good. All right, number 2 is of course going to be Iron Maiden by Iron Maiden, the self-titled eponymous debut. The first of 2 albums to feature original vocalist Paul Di'Anno, who we recently lost, rest in peace, and the only album to feature guitarist Dennis Stratton before he was replaced by Adrian Smith. Yeah, it's a great album. I really love pretty much all the songs. In my opinion, this is all killer and no filler. I've heard Steve Harris criticize this album a little bit, but I disagree. I think it's great. Yeah, Prowler is an awesome song. Unfortunately, this vinyl version doesn't include the bonus track Sanctuary, which is on some versions. It's on my CD version, but it's not on this vinyl. That's a really good song too. Remember Tomorrow, a very slow, melodic, woeful, beautiful track. Running Free, which is a staple of their live shows. They played that well into the Dickinson era after, Paul Di'Anno left and was replaced by Bruce Dickinson. A superior vocalist, but, Paul was still great too. Phantom of the Opera is a great song. Transylvania is my favorite instrumental track ever. It's just freaking awesome. Yeah, I love Transylvania. Yeah, the solos and stuff. Yeah, Dennis Stratton and Dave Murray's guitar playing was just incredible on that. Yeah, Steve Harris is my favorite bassist too. His bass lines on this are really, really awesome. Then, of course, Strange World, which is a really slow, haunting, really woeful, beautiful track. I wish they would play that live. It'd be interesting to hear Bruce Dickinson sing it. Charlotte the Harlot, and of course the song Iron Maiden, which is usually the closer to their set list. Usually they play that song last, and when I saw them live a few years ago, they did play that. So they played a couple songs from the Di'Anno era, which was cool. But yeah, great album. It's their first and still one of their best in my opinion. Definitely in my top 5. Yeah, I love their debut. I think it's just freaking awesome. Yeah, Iron Maiden. Let's see where it all began. History was first made. Oh yeah. All right, before we reveal the number 1 choice, I've got just a few honorable mentions. Ace of Spades by Motorhead, of course. This almost made the list. This is a great album. This is the first album ever bought by them, and it's probably the most well-known. Of course, the title track is probably their most famous song. But yeah, it's really, really good. A really good album. Yeah, Lemmy and Company did an awesome job here. Lemmy was just too freaking cool. Such a great songwriter and bass player. Rest in peace. Yeah, he had a really good band with this album. Yeah, other good songs like Love Me Like a Reptile, some bonus tracks on this album like Emergency, which I think the vocals were done by Fast Eddie Clark, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty good. The guitarist, he was really skilled as well. But yeah, I think he did the vocals on that, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, Ace of Spades, great album. Also, Wheels of Steel and Strong Arm of the Law, both by Saxon. Yeah, Saxon had 2 albums in 1980. How cool is that? Kind of like Black Sabbath did with their debut in Paranoid. Both came out in 1970. So yeah, Saxon had 2 albums in 1980, and both are really, really good. Especially Wheels of Steel, because it has my favorite Saxon song, 747, Strangers in the Night. That's an awesome song. But yeah, really, really cool stuff. Yeah, awesome vocals by Biff Byford. Great guitar playing by Paul Quinn and Graham Oliver. Yeah, it's really, really good. If you're into, old school, traditional heavy metal, definitely check these out because they're awesome. All right, my number 1 choice is, of course, going to be Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is my favorite band, so you knew my number 1 probably had to be something by Sabbath. This is the first album featuring the late, great Ronnie James Dio, one of my favorite vocalists and one of my all-time idols and heroes. yeah, his vocals are incredible. His powerful vibrato, his commanding voice. He was just amazing. Yeah, it's really cool that he teamed up with Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward to bring us this masterpiece, a phenomenal album. Yeah, it's just awesome. A lot of people, some people only listen to the Ozzy era. Well, I think they're missing out because the Dio era and even their other lineups have been really, really awesome as well. Yeah, Dio breathed new life into the band after the last two albums of Ozzy were a little passe. I think they're kind of run out of ideas, so I think they definitely need a change. And bringing in Dio was the right choice. Because, of course, Ozzy had his awesome solo career. He teamed up with Randy Rhoads, and then later Jake Ely and Zach Wilde. So it's really cool that they did that. I wish they could have done a little bit more with Dio, but we still have awesome albums like this. Yeah, great songs like Neon Nights, the title track, Children of the Sea, Wishing Well, which a lot of people don't care for. It's kind of a little more upbeat and poppy, but I love it. I think it's awesome. And Lady Evil, which is another great song. Yeah, they sound a lot different with Dio. It was a lot more 80s, I mean, obviously, and a little more upbeat and kind of more like epic and powerful. Their stuff with Ozzy was a little more doomy and, kind of like maybe a little darker and kind of more like downbeat, but their stuff with Dio is really, really awesome. I love both eras in different ways. And yeah, this is probably my favorite album Black Sabbath did with Dio. It's just freaking phenomenal. Yeah, masterpiece in every way. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, yeah, those are my top 5 favorite 1980 metal albums with a few honorable mentions. Let me know your choices are below. As always, thank you for watching my late night spook show here on the Horror and Metal channel. I'm Lord Hellhound. Until next time. Later.